8 days ago, Jaiden Animations came out as Arrow Ace. And while my platform is much smaller than hers, I was inspired to add my voice to this discussion, if you will, because this is definitely something that's harder to detect. Any of the asexual or aromantic identities are very hard to figure out that you have because of how we are as a society. I feel like Jaiden explains all that better than I can, but for today I'd like to talk about my experiences specifically and how I came to identify myself with a very obscure label that, if not for the internet, I never would have found, and I would have just kept thinking there was something wrong with me. It's very common for people on the asexual or aromantic spectrum to think that there's something wrong with them because, again, society. So let's get into it. I still identify as a lesbian. Women are beautiful. I definitely want kisses and snuggles. But what is ansexual other than something that should not be confused with Marcy Wu or Sasha Waybright? Side note, Sasha actually wears the ansexual colors a lot as of late, and I want to say that's a coincidence, but at this point it's really hard to tell if it's a coincidence or not. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning. And I don't just mean several months ago when I discovered a video talking about ace identities. No, I mean back to my junior year of high school. So this is really hard. I'm so sorry. I had honestly thought that we as human beings were like somehow above like all these creatures that just had this it's like they just mated without thinking about it or whatever because instinct or whatever, and I thought we were like above all that because it was like, oh, and we just like choose who we like, and I mean we don't choose who we like, but we go with who we like, and that's how it happens, right? It's like, I mean, it's like part of bonding, I guess, or something. I don't really know. It was, but anyway, like many asexual spectrum individuals, the let's say the instincts, they hit me all at once at the age of 17, and it felt so horrible. I hated myself. I hated how I felt. I hated that it was towards a straight girl who was, well, straight. I'm so sorry. And I didn't understand. I thought, what I never understood was like how people younger than that could like, do it, because it's like, why would they do that? They wouldn't want to, right? But apparently, no, that for normal quote unquote people, that starts at the age of 13. And I discovered that recently. Like, wait, what? Excuse me? It's like, anytime talking about cartoon characters, I'm like, just a quick reminder that they're 14. Well, no, I mean, obviously they're not going to do that because they're 14, but they're going to think about it. I'm sorry, they're going to think about it? What? Am I making any sense at all right now? don't think I am making any sense at all, but I do feel like what I have to say is important, even if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I thought I was a prude. My parents still think I'm a prude. Because I feel like if I told them, they would think that I was just making it up. So, and I always assumed that it was just that I was like, I guess I was just a somewhat private person when it came to that. I mean, when it comes to like my physical health in most aspects, I I sometimes overshare. And I've probably done that on this channel once or twice or 10 times. But I was just like, I just felt like the sexual part of people's lives, and it's like, just keep that to yourself. And I thought that that was just how I was. It's like, oh no, it's just none of my business, And I also thought that the idea of people desiring me being terrifying was because I was a lesbian. I thought that was because I was a lesbian. And that actually doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because, like, well, I mean, there's also women. Yeah. There were, I'm gonna like slightly dip into oversharing territory, but I'm gonna keep it vague. Certain things that I could never enjoy because it just felt like it was pointless and gross, and it's just like, this is supposed to do something, but it really doesn't. And just the way I get so uncomfortable when people are talking about sexual things. Someone who was asexual said to me, you could be, I thought you were asexual. You've got to be asexual, right? And I'm like, I can't be asexual. I feel sexual attraction. That's like the opposite of asexual. And another time I was talking to one of my guy friends about those things that always just make me feel gross. And he's like, you could be asexual. And I was like, no, I can't be asexual. I feel sexual attraction. Again, that's the opposite of asexual. And I was just kind of erasing myself because I didn't realize that there was another category. So why don't we define ansexual now that we're almost 10 minutes into the video. So I'm gonna leave a link to the video that I found about probably 6 or 8 months ago, that finally gave me some clarity. But anyway, ansexual is essentially you feel sexual attraction, but you are sex repulsed. And in many cases, you're also repulsed by genitalia. And it's it's often characterized as being disgusted by your own feelings. There's also anromantic, which is obviously not me. So yeah, it's so hard to figure these things out, and society is not doing us any favors. And I'm not entirely sure where I'm going with all this, but I just feel like it's important to say something. Another quick side note is that Alistair from Has Been Hotel is the ansexual colors. So look at me. I've got two cartoon characters who are also like me. Just kidding. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it's not very well known, and I'm sure some of you sitting here are probably thinking, Blue, what the frick are you talking about? Um, I just, when I discovered ansexuality, I felt so much better about myself. Before I was like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so prudish and you know? Uh, and I, um, I'm so sorry. There's really not too much I can say on the topic without oversharing, um, even if I'm being vague. Um, even though we've been here for like over 10 minutes. Assuming you're still here, I mean, you could have just bailed because you're like, oh my god, this bitch is boring. Um, but anyway, this is who I am, and I I don't feel nearly as much like an outsider or like there's something wrong with me. And one more quick note before I wrap this up. I, much like anyone else on the asexual spectrum, hate how sexuality is attributed to being human. It's like, ah, yes, if you feel nothing, you're a freaking robot. And it's much like Jaiden says, that's not what makes us human because there's so many other animals that do that. And so many of them that like actually enjoy it as opposed to like just not even thinking about it. And she said that basic compassion is what makes us human. And I actually disagree with that as well because there are other animals that have that, dolphins and elephants and other like more intelligent mammals. Um, so what I think makes us human is our capacity for progress and just what we as a species are capable of and how far we've come with technology and also our capacity for destruction and how we may bring about our own doom. I think that at the end of the day is what makes us human, not whether or not we want to fuck. So thanks for watching and listening. Please have a wonderful day, and I mean it. I really mean it. This isn't me at my retail job. I mean it. Sorry, I had to make that joke. Anyway, you have a good day, and don't forget that I appreciate your support.